Oh, hello. Welcome to Geeks Unleashed. This is episode 242. So each week on the Geeks Unleashed podcast, we catch up on our pop culture lives, we discuss some movie news, sometimes some trailer reactions, sometimes, and we always finish with a movie, or in this week's case, a TV review. I'm also joined by the marvelous Lawrence.
Give me back my face.
Yeah. That's a great line. Right, okay, so before we get started, if you're watching on YouTube, please remember to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Also, be sure to leave us a comment and let us know what you loved or maybe didn't love about the Watchmen TV series and anything else that we may discuss whilst the show is on. We also release this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc., so you can also join us there. Sometimes we do something called Geek of the Week, and we sometimes go first on that. Sometimes we do some geeky news. I feel a bit bad starting off with calling it geeky news, but actually, before we jump into that, Lawrence, how's your week gone? You all right?
Pretty good. A lot of stuff happening as far as geek culture.
Oh yeah, no, I know. There's two specific things I wanted to bring up actually, but yeah, it's been a busy week, man. Like honestly, I can't believe where the week has gone. So Jasmine was very passionate, by the way, about joining this episode tonight. Unfortunately, Jasmine's had a few family things come up, and she's not allowed to join. We won't get into that now. It's up to her if she jumps on. Not today, she's not going to jump on, but when she next jumps on. But yeah, we just want to shout out Jasmine. She has told me she will come back on the rewind and listen to this episode, but there's parts of the Watchmen TV series that were very sort of passionate that she wanted to talk about, and we'll highlight where she's at when we get there. But look, I wanted to jump into some news that hit me first thing Monday morning. Like honestly, really sort of really struck me. Was Hayden Panettiere passing away at the age of 36. So man, I was gutted. Like seriously, I'm a huge fan of hers. I haven't watched a massive amount of her work, but Scream and Heroes. Heroes is where I first found her, which is where probably most people found her. But I am a huge fan, as people will know around here, of her character of Kirby from the Scream franchise. I honestly swear to you, it's probably my favorite character from the Scream franchise. I even fangirl her more than bloody Sydney. Like she honestly, to me, is brilliant. I've been rooting. So you know what? When 4 happened, you weren't really sure if she died or not. And then 5 came out like 10 years later. There was no mention of her. I was peed off. And if Jasmine was here, she knew. And when 6 got announced, she was returning. I was over the moon. But yeah, anyway, to come back to her, that they've not released all the details. Families asked for to be left alone respectfully. It's looking like maybe some sort of overdose potentially, but I guess we won't know for a few more weeks. But I think from what I've heard, even previous to this, she's had quite a troubled life, and just I think if you went on social media, it's hit quite a lot of people, and just what about yourself, Lawrence?
Sorry, you broke up with the last part.
I said, what about yourself? Like when you heard the news, like just
I was shocked because I believe her family lost her brother like 3 years ago, and he was younger than her. So I mean, that just sucks. And I mean, I agree. I loved Heroes season 1. I've been meaning to rewatch the entire series plus the legacy sequel that they did. And Hayden was always my favorite character, same with Scream. Scream 4 is probably my favorite Scream of them. I know you don't get 4 without 1, but that one is the one that I absolutely loved, and she was fantastic as Kirby. I was hoping we would get more of her character in future movies, but sadly that does not seem to be in the cards anymore.
I was gutted that she didn't come back for 7, to be honest. I think she's amazing. But today is really sad as well. It's her 37th birthday today.
So, oh my god! And that would be the other thing, right? Like I would have loved to have seen what that movie would have been, where it was not Sydney, but Jenna Ortega and oh my god, Sam, her sister.
No, that should never have happened either. I mean, look, I'm a huge Scream fan. Scream 7 was just awful. Should never have been made. They should retcon that. They should just bin it, just destroy everything ever made with number 7. Honestly, it was awful, really, really bad. And unfortunately, we'll never get another Kirby again. But honestly, rest in peace, Hayden. And it's just really devastating news. Last week, to move on to something maybe a little bit cheerier. Last week, me and Lawrence decided to skip talking about the D23 news, and we're gonna go through some of that now. So I'm looking forward to going through some of that now. But I think the main thing is shouting out the X-Men casting. So Sadie Sink, we know. Look, this is a spoiler. It's been out a few weeks now, so you've most likely seen it on the internet. But in Brand New Day, Sadie Sink is revealed as Jean Grey, as everybody knew she was going to be Jean Grey, most likely, or at least a mutant. I do not. I really thought we were going down the Firestar route. That's kind of where I wondered if we were going down the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends route. That was something that maybe personally I wanted, but I thought if it wasn't Firestar, it was going to be Jean Grey. So they brought out quite a big lineup here. So Kit Connor, it's a lot of it's younger people. It's mostly, I would say, I don't like to use the word unknowns, but not some of these names are quite unknown to a lot of people. There's a few in there that are right now. Kit Connor says Scott Summers, Cyclops. Now, he is on the Heartstoppers TV series. I haven't watched it myself, but I know it's very popular. It's on Netflix, I think, isn't it?
I am actually not familiar with him, so I'm gonna have to check out his filmography.
So Christopher Abbott, who I'm gonna be honest, never heard of him before until they announced it, but he is going to play Professor Charles Xavier. And then now this is one of my favorite actresses. Honestly, I absolutely love her. Samara Weaving is going to play Emma Frost. Now, most people should know Samara Weaving. You know, her uncle was in the Matrix films, right?
I'm always blown away by that, and I'm just sort of like, there's a level of nepotism that like people are not okay with, and I'm like, I'm okay with it here. I'm just like that is a talented family.
But do you know what? She doesn't. I've seen her interviewed. She doesn't shy away from it. So, Indy Navarrete, who most people should know from this year's absolute blockbuster of a movie, Obsession, she is going to be playing Anne-Marie, also known as Rogue. So, what do you think of that news?
I'm psyched for it. I was saying to my boyfriend that in Obsession, she does an amazing job kind of doing the turns emotionally, whether it's like, she's in like her possessed mode and then all of a sudden she breaks out of it and is like, in horror, just horrified about everything that's happening, or just witnessing what she's kind of coming out of when she's in like under the spell. I was just gonna say, so I'm just looking forward to seeing her kind of bringing some of that energy to Rogue, because I feel like she steals people's powers and goes crazy. She can go nuts in one point and then be absolutely lovable the next second.
I think she'll do really well in kind of how she changes how she is, because that's Rogue's whole thing, isn't it? She touches your skin and she doesn't just absorb your powers, but sometimes takes on elements of your character traits and memories and stuff like that. So
I remember in the X-Men Evolution show, there's an episode where she kind of has to like purge because like she's got too many memories of people like stacked inside her, so she's like kind of crazed. So I would love to see that if they do it, but I guess we'll see what they do with that character per se.
There's been a lot of memes online about her meeting Captain Marvel. So
yeah,
I think it's got to happen, right?
I'm always here for the memes.
So got caught on my rewatch of the fantastic TV series just in time. Oh yeah, hi John. Yeah, we this is out. We're going to do some news and another feature, and then we'll be talking about the TV series. But yeah, we just watched it this week ourselves, and
All right.
Yeah. We'll talk. We'll get to it in a minute. And right, okay. So this is another unknown actress who's mostly done theatre. Maya Boyd is going to be playing Storm. I can't get too excited about that. I don't know anything about her, but if she's been doing mostly theatre work, I've got to assume she's going to be bringing it to the screen. Like you have to be very well trained to be theatre.
Well, and one of the things I love about that is that, you know, part of it is that unknown factor, like of not just the person's career, but just kind of, you know, at a certain point, right? Like Chris Pratt's going to voice every, you know, cartoon character we ever will see on TV, and it's kind of like, all right, like is there another personality here that can do this? Because I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. We're just not, you know, trying at all at that point.
So, well, yeah, I mean, there was a joke this year that, you know, Timothy Olyphant, you know, Tom Holland, Zendaya, Robert Pattinson. Yeah, how many films can they do in 1 year? And someone said to me, if you were to make a movie, that would, and just put that cast in your movie, you know. So, right, okay. Adam Driver. Okay, so everyone knows Adam Driver. He was probably one of the biggest names they threw up there. He is going to be playing. Well, he made a joke about it, right? Initially, he said he's playing Magneto, which was kind of funny, but it felt like an awkward joke, right? He's going to be playing. I thought this was funny that he said this. I'm going to be playing Nathaniel Milbury, and to the general audience, they're not going to know who that is, but they're also not going to know that that is also Mr. Sinister. But
yeah, I guess I never knew his last name, but you know, yeah.
No, I didn't
Nathaniel,
know his last name. Yeah. I don't know his last name. I'm excited. I think it's good that we're going to see the X-Men in there. I'm more excited though for the Fox crew showing up in this year's Avengers film than I am this lot. But you know, they haven't earned that yet, but we'll see it at some point. Well, I'm going to quickly throw up a little summary of a few bits and pieces. There's going to be an Incredibles 3, which is going to be released the 16th of June 2028. There's going to be a The Bluey movie, which is going to be CG animated, coming on the 6th of August 2027. There's going to be a new Simpsons movie, which is going to be released on the 3rd of September 2027. There is also going to be a Frozen 3 and a Zootopia 3. I think we all knew those were coming at some point. And there is going to be a few other bits and pieces here. Coco 2, a Lilo and Stitch 2. Just trying to throw this up. Right, okay. They did discuss and they did do a first look of Vision Quest, which is kind of what they said, finishing off the trilogy of TV series, which started with WandaVision, then Agatha All Along, and Vision Quest will be out later in the year. They have announced that there's going to be a Tangled live action movie coming out on the 31st of March 2028. Tegan Croft is going to play Rapunzel, Milo Manheim is Flynn Rider, and Catherine Hahn is going to play Mother Gothel, who actually was in Agatha All Along. I thought this is kind of interesting. There's going to be a Princess Diary 3 with Anne Hathaway confirmed. And just do two more bits and then I'll finish this off. Percy Jackson and the Olympians. They showed a teaser for season 3 at D23. And I thought this was strange. Romy and Michelle too. Right, yeah, okay. So
Mia Servino's back.
I thought, okay, so I don't know, actually, Lawrence, I don't know how much you know about me and my family. We've been on 5 Disney cruises, and we have got 2 more booked for next year. They're actually back-to-backs, and I have done only, of those 5, only 2 of them are the same ship. So we've done the Disney Dream and the Disney Fantasy, but next year we're booked to go on Disney Wish twice. The reason I say this is we got really excited that they've announced that they are now making a further 5 Disney cruise ships. So, yeah, I know. I'm pleased. Right, so that's.
I didn't even know that they had that many cruise ships.
Yeah, they've got. Let me see. I think they've got the Magic. Shit, they got another one I forgot the name of. The Fantasy, the Dream. Crap, I forgot the name. They've got one that's in Singapore, that's only in Singapore for 5 years, and it doesn't go anywhere. It just goes out to sea and does a loop, and then comes back to Singapore. But yeah, there's a bunch basically now. Now they're making another. There's the Treasure as well, which is already out. Yeah, but I haven't been on all of them. I haven't got endless amounts of money. But yeah, when we had another 5, we got excited. So, right, okay. Is there anything you wanted to shout out yourself? Because there's a lot of news that came out at D23. But...
No, I think you covered it all. I think, yeah, again, my thing is just being psyched for the X-Men. I know that we have the Fox team who will show up in Doomsday, and it is exciting to have that nostalgia. But I think for me, seeing a new take on X-Men, especially with Nathaniel Essex / Mr. Sinister as a villain, is really exciting because God knows that we have seen enough Magneto that we need to move on. So
yeah, my take on it is I'm glad that there's no Wolverine, there's no Magneto, and I long hope that we don't see those for quite a while. There is they have said this is not all the cast, which is fine because if they set it out of school, there's clearly going to be more than the cast they mentioned. I truly hope they stay away from Wolverine for a couple of movies, and I kind of get maybe throwing in Magneto, even if it's just more of a cameo, but I hope they stay away from that for a while as well.
Yeah, okay. I mean, like the cartoon, right? Like he doesn't have to be the first one that they face off with.
Okay, right. So we do something around here called Geek of the Week. So Geek of the Week is something that we've enjoyed on our own throughout the week, something we've watched or read or listened to or attended or whatever. And Lawrence actually wants to talk about a movie which actually has been released today. So Lawrence, take it away.
Yeah, so the fine people at Ketchup Entertainment sent me a screener of Coyote versus Acme, and my full written review will be posted on the social medias on Monday. But I loved the movie. I mean, it's a shame that Warner Brothers wanted to throw it out, and it required Ketchup Entertainment to come along and save it. Same with the other Warner Brothers Looney Tunes movie, The Day the Earth Blew Up, which was one of my favorites. This one is interesting because it is more of like a courtroom drama, which is an interesting way to frame this character. And I understand why Warner Brothers might have struggled with this movie, because I feel like the demographic is more older than younger for this movie when compared to something like The Day the Earth Blew Up. But I think that, this movie successfully does what it needs to do, and, surprisingly emotional. I really love how they reframe some of these characters' relationships, and it comes out this Thursday this week, and I'm hoping people go see it.
Oh, it's out today over here.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think ours comes out. Actually, it comes out next Thursday in the States. So.
Okay, I'm a bit worried now. I've booked 3 tickets for Monday for me, my 12-year-old, and her friend. So, do you think they'll be okay?
I think they will probably be old enough for that. I think it's more just the idea that if you're bringing your kids to watch a bunch of cartoons bounce around the wall and kind of keep them mesmerized with action and energy, this would probably not be the movie. But I think they would be of the age to be able to appreciate what's happening here.
I hope they'll be all right. They my 12-year-old does love to tell me she's bored during a movie, which, anyway, we'll see what happens. I've got the 10:30 in the morning, so hopefully they won't give me enough stick at that point. They'll just go and enjoy them. I really want to watch it. It's amazing to me that Warner Brothers were going to put it off as a tax write-off, and now,
so I mean, well, you'll have to let me know how your kids react to the movie, because I feel like I think adults, and especially anyone who grew up with the Looney Tunes, is just going to really appreciate this movie. I just think that, like, when you see something like The Day the Earth Blew Up, like, there's a gag like every minute kind of thing, whereas this one it's a little more dry humor and kind of a visual gag than anything else. So, but again, it highlights their whole legacy and career as Coyote and the Roadrunner.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I watched the trailer today when I was booking the tickets, and I love the Roger. It reminded me of Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, right.
Bugs Bunny showing up right at the very end of the trailer And I was just like, I love the fact that they didn't show much of him, but he comes like at the very end of the trailer, they show him, and I was like, yeah, they saved like that character for the last moment of the trailer. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll watch it on Monday. I'll be back next week and let you know. Right, I've had a busy week, and when you're watching 9 episodes of fairly lengthy TV, it doesn't leave much room for anything else. So the only thing I have watched, well, I've watched 2 things, but the one I want to shout out is Silo episode 8 of season 3 on Apple TV. Finally, we're back in the previous Silo of that Silo 17 that we saw during season 2. Look, I love this show. They do stretch they've really been stretching the plot this season. It's slightly frustrating, but I feel like this episode now things are starting to go. They've been building up to bring Silo 17 back all season, and now we're finally back in Silo 17, and the tension is rising. We've got 2 more episodes to go. Honestly, it is a really good show. It's a little bit drawn out. I would say if you've not watched it, wait till season 3 is finished and then go jump in. The only thing is, if you then catch up on it, you're gonna have to, when season 4 comes out, have to have a really drawn out season 4. But look, just give it a go. Honestly, it's just so good. I really truly love it. Rebecca Ferguson is outstanding, and yeah, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant piece of TV. So,
are those 45-minute episodes, or are they?
I think they're like an hour long.
Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, I don't have Apple TV, but when I pick that up, I will definitely check.
So I signed up to Apple TV. So what I tend to do is I sign up for Apple TV for a bit, then cancel it, come back again. But when I saw the day Silo came back with his first episode of season 3, I signed up for it like instantly. I really do love it. Look, although I'm saying that it's drawn out a little bit, it is brilliant. It is so good. It's one of these mystery shows. They really got to get on with it though. I really want to know what's going on. So, but yeah, it's a phenomenally well acted show. Yeah. Okay, so our main event is part of Watchmen Month. Watchmen, the TV series, was created by Damon Lindelof, and it's based on the graphic novel by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. This show is written by Damon Lindelof, Cord Jefferson, Nick Coos, Lila Byock, Crystal Henry, Carly Ray, Claire Ketchell. It's directed by lots of people: Nicole Castle, Stephen Williams, Steph Green, David Smell. There's a few other people in there. It's produced by Damon Lindelof, and actually most of those people that I've just mentioned in the previous lot there. Stars Regina King, who is the main actor, to be honest. Nicole Castle, reading from the wrong bit now. Don Johnson. I wouldn't say he necessarily stars, but Tim Blake Nelson, Jeremy Irons. But to be honest, there's a big cast actually. So yeah, you can go to IMDb and check it out. Right, okay. It was released on the 20th of October 2019. It ran all the way to December 15th, 2019. It was 9 episodes. The running time varied, but it was between 52 minutes and 67 minutes. A total running time of around 9 hours for the whole show. There was a budget of around 120 million. So there we go. It's an expensive budget, right? So there's a few things I'm just going to shout out here quickly. In 2019, when this show came out, there was a bunch of other new shows that also came out, which was The Boys Season 1, Umbrella Academy Season 1, Doom Patrol Season 1, Swamp Thing, only got 1 season, Batgirl Season 1, Pennyworth Season 1, Deadly Class, which got cancelled after Season 1, Raising Dion, I've never seen that actually, V-Wars. This list doesn't include various other shows that were inactive. Yeah, they're currently running. So there's a lot of the Arrowverse shows, and I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and various other Marvel shows. Back in 2019, the comic book TV landscape was very rich. I wouldn't say it's as rich now on the TV world as it was back then. But okay, so I've got some facts I wanted to shout out. And normally this is something that Jasmine would do, but as she's not here, I've gone and done that bit for her. Right, the first fact I'm going to shout out, Jasmine calls these fun facts. So Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross of Nine Inch Nails fame, who scored the series, released the show's soundtrack across 3 separate vinyl LPs during its broadcast. Each LP was rich in-universe artwork and liner notes designed to look like artifacts from the show's alternate reality, including music program notes from the alternative universe's version of Oklahoma. Well, that's pretty cool. I might look into getting those. I love a few. I've got quite a few records downstairs. Right, okay. David Lindelof made a strict distinction that this series was neither a remake nor a reboot, but rather a remix, or what he called New Testament, to the comics Old Testament, because original writer Alan Moore famously opposed any further adaptations of his work. Lindelof wrote a passionate 5-page open letter to fans acknowledging Moore's genius, whilst admitting that he was also defying Moore's wishes to tell this story. Oh, that's quite an interesting thing to do, to be honest, but he didn't particularly care what Alan Moore's views on it were, essentially. He's like, I respect the guy, but I'm going to do it anyway. Right, okay, so episode 6, The Extraordinary Being, which is mostly in black and white. I'm sure we're going to come back to this, to reflect the memory drug that Regina's character takes, where she's living through the eyes of her biological grandfather, who becomes known as the Hooded Justice. We'll get to this. To achieve this surreal look without relying heavily on post-production visual effects, the production crew built retro sets and physically swapped actors mid-shot using incredible invisible choreography and real-life lighting transitions as Regina's character relives her grandfather's memories. That explains now why the camera would show the granddad, sort of pan off and sometimes come back and show her. I think they obviously were just quickly switching them out. So I thought that was cool. Right, there is something that I wanted to talk about before we go any further. The 2019 Watchmen series also centers its entire narrative arc around a real-life historical event called the Tulsa Race Massacre in 1921. And I know if Jasmine was on today, that is something that she would want to cover. And it's something that she covered off-air with us a couple of weeks ago when we did the graphic novel. So on the 31st of May and the 1st of June 1921, white mobs attacked the black residents and businesses in the prosperous Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma, a neighborhood widely known as the Black Wall Street. Up to 300 black Americans were killed, thousands were left homeless, and 35 blocks of neighborhood were burned to the ground. For nearly a century, the events were omitted from major history textbooks and silenced in local education, leaving many Americans unaware of the existence until the show aired. Now, how the show incorporates it, the opening scene, the show's pilot opens with the brutal recreation of the 1921 massacre as the white mobs used explosives and fire, and then it focused on a young black child called Will Reeves, who is smuggled out of the destruction by his parents, surviving the violence. We then come back to him later on. Now, it's the origin of the first ever superhero in the Watchmen universe. Will Reeves grows up to become the Hooded Justice, the world's first mass vigilante, directly linking the birth of superheroism in America to anti-black racism and trauma of the Tulsa Massacre. Now, the parallels of the alternate history here is set in modern day 2019 Tulsa. The series explores systematic racism, white supremacist terrorism, and also a group called the 7th Cavalry. The government, the government's reparations is known in the universe as the Red Fordations, which is basically payments to descendants based off this massacre. And that is it, really. I just wanted to cover that in a little bit more detail rather than being brief with it. We're obviously going to talk about the TV series now, so there's a lot there. Sorry, Lawrence, I went through a lot of that because I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, I mean it's heavy.
yeah, and that's So look, I think let's just maybe just chat it through together. Just initial thoughts, man. We just spoke a little bit before we started recording. It's 9 episodes, 9 hours, and we talk about the comparisons with Watchmen, the movie and the graphic novel, but there was a point in this halfway through where I did think, I wish I wasn't watching this all across 1 week, because there's some heaviness in here, and I could probably do a couple of days off to maybe digest this a little bit more, but I didn't have that luxury, so I had to keep going. I watched it basically Monday all the way through till today. I was watching probably an episode or two a night, essentially, to get through this. I watched the last episode today, but yeah, that's how I managed to get through it, or a couple of episodes a day. I wasn't doing anything else. It's very mesmerizing when you watch. No, sometimes if a show's not very good, because you start fidgeting, you pick up your phone. I wasn't doing any of that. Honestly, the way it was put together, I was completely drawn in. But yeah, what about yourself?
Yeah, so I started watching it after the episode that we did with the movie. Still haven't gotten to watch the ultimate cut, but so here's the thing with this show. I totally made the wrong choice when I was watching TV in 2019, because I was watching Doom Patrol season 1, and I forgot what else that we said came out that year as well.
That one.
And anyone who knows me personally knows that I have beef with Damon Lindelof. I hate that man for Lost. I hate him for Prometheus. Anytime I see his name, my eyes just glaze over. And then now I have to apologize, because this show was amazing, and I got through it in a week, but I was doing it 1 episode a night, so I did kind of get a level of decompression after watching an episode. But my God, it is almost 9 perfect episodes for a series, and I like the movie, but I think I like the show more because of how digestible it is, because it's done in 1 hour blocks. But also, I think that with how dense the graphic novel is, doing Watchmen in 2.5, 3 hours does not do it justice. And gonna shout out for the TV show, they threw the alien in, and it works. You don't need it for very long, and it they've got an amazing episode about that as well. So I loved this show, and I can't wait to rewatch it. And I wish Jasmine were here to kind of talk to us about some of the other tidbits that really kind of make this world much more real than necessarily just a comic book TV show.
You're right. In 2019, I deliberately didn't watch this show.
Yeah,
because I knew I hadn't read the graphic novel, and I knew I hadn't watched the film. So when the TV show came out, I was like, I can't watch this either, right? And then some of the commentary I've heard from Damon Lindelof about how this isn't really a sequel, but a remix. And I was like, okay, I definitely can't go anywhere near this, because I don't really because I haven't done anything in the previous graphic novels or anything like that to be able to get into it. So I just stuck away. Damon Lindelof, in all honesty, to me, he seems like a strange individual. That's probably the best. How he comes across. I know maybe I'm going to sound really terrible, but I don't know, he comes across a little bit odd to me. Now, that doesn't take away from his work. I love Lost. I am a huge fan of Lost. I have watched Lost from start to finish many times. I have watched it maybe 4 or 5 times, start to finish. It's probably, maybe people might kill me for this, but it's probably one of the best things I think he's done. Leftovers, I didn't really enjoy that as much. It was okay. First season was good, and then I just felt like it went down and it just became more unnecessarily weird. Tomorrowland, which he's also involved in, is a nice little sweet Disney movie based off a theme park ride. It's all right. The Star Treks. What do you think of the Star Treks they did?
I'm looking at his IMDb page, and Star Trek Into Darkness isn't my favorite. I like the first one, but when I see that World War Z, Tomorrowland, I'm just kind of sitting here going like, yeah, maybe my hatred for this man is not completely unwarranted, but he did The Hunt, which I was unaware that he was a part of, as far as a writer and producer. It's another movie I really loved. Maybe he's really good at doing like social commentary, but sometimes I feel like when he's playing in other people's spaces, I say that, and then like we're talking about a Watchmen TV show, but it's like I feel like the stuff that I'm judging with like Star Trek Into Darkness and Prometheus, it's like that stuff doesn't work. And again, for me, Lost didn't hit the way I wish it did. Yeah. So, and then spoilers for what next month we'll be talking Lanterns. So
yeah. So the other thing, I was about to say the other thing on his list is the Lantern show, which came out on HBO Max on Sunday night, which is getting a lot of buzz at the moment for mixed reasons. Divisive ending to the first episode, but overall, I think the show has been well received. I don't like the ending that he's given the first episode of Lanterns. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to hope. If I'm honest, I'm going to hope that he undoes that. I don't think that's not a good move to do. To
okay.
It's not. I don't think it's a good move to do for Lantern fans. There's people, but I'm not going to ruin it because it's only just come out. But we're going to come back to Watchmen. Okay, so this Watchmen TV series, right now I've watched it and now I understand the whole remix and stuff like that. And you made a comment last week to me about how this could be a sequel to the movie as well as the TV series.
Yep.
I think if you take a view on the whole alien squid thing and kind of just ignore that part, this could be a follow-on to the movie too. And they do very well in terms of the casting choices, in terms of like Ozymandias and even to me, like Dr. Manhattan, it was very clever how we got the introduction to Dr. Manhattan when we see him in the blue in one of the flashback episodes, that we don't see his face until later on when he decides to change how he looks. Oh, that was an interesting thing to do as well. So I love that we get Laurie Blake, and we don't get to realise that's Laurie Blake until a lot later on. I thought that was cool. And then I love the the legacy of Rorschach, like the Rorschach mask. How there's like now this gang of Rorschach people. That's just
right.
The legacy of this man who was in the underground, who only saw black and white, and now suddenly he's got this not very nice group of people using his mask. But I thought that was an interesting choice creatively to bring Rorschach across. And I think what they've done here is take the established world of Watchmen. I also found this really interesting, thinking they're putting this out on HBO, and there's more people will see this show than have watched than have read the graphic novel. I thought that was really interesting that HBO allowed him to make a sequel to a graphic novel / film. And like you say, you could watch the film and then watch this TV series, but it was the squid thing which made it distinctively a sequel from the graphic novel.
Right.
But from what I've read, it was very well received, even without people's knowledge of the graphic novel. Which,
I've said it multiple times with the previous episodes, right? Like I think the squid works. It's just a matter of how much more time do you want to spend, like threading the needle, telling that story, expanding on what exactly happened, right? I feel like this show did it perfectly, where it was like, all right, this weird thing happens. What I even thought at the beginning of that episode that maybe Looking Glass has some sort of psychic power himself. And then it's like, oh, no. Like we zoom out and we see that, across from New Jersey is this giant dead alien squid in the middle of the city. And then it's not until the end of that episode that we get, Ozymandias's confession to the whole thing and what he did to create that idea in people's minds that an alien invasion is possibly imminent.
I thought with this show as well, it was interesting that they made a creative decision to jump back and forward through time quite regularly, and also introduce people that like maybe have been skipped off, say, the first 2 episodes, but then suddenly from episode 3 are huge factors in the rest of the show. And that sort of I thought was an interesting choice, because some of these people got introduced, say, like in episode 3, and then you think, oh, maybe they're just there for the episode, but no, they're then there for every episode beyond that. And just look, this show came out 10 years, no, not 10 years ago, about 8 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago. I need to work that out, actually. I want to spoil some stuff now, so if you've had a chance to go watch that show, let's talk about Dr. Manhattan to start with.
All right, we'll start
the love story, but also the secretive way that they hid Dr. Manhattan from the audience. Firstly, what happens is, to those people that have not watched this, they hide Dr. Manhattan. They hide him in the show and have him be someone else, like completely hidden, and he doesn't know he's Dr. Manhattan. They show you as it goes on that he makes the decision to hide himself from him, and he takes on the image of somebody that they find in a morgue. And I thought that there's a lot of interesting stuff there. But what do you think, mate, of the twist? And then I want to talk about the love story in a minute, but like the whole hiding it from the audience about Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I do feel like that one was spoiled for me even without watching the show, because everyone kept putting that like photo of I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the guy who plays Dr. Manhattan / Black Manta in Aquaman, and like so they showed him in like the blue face makeup. So like
isn't he the new Wonder Man as well?
Yes. And so it's like I remember seeing that, but I didn't have the context for it, right? And like again, like as we'll talk about, the mystery of it is so well done. I love that the show does play with time and space the way that Dr. Manhattan perceives time. So you're kind of already seeing his version of time in this story by the way that they kind of keep jumping back and forth and intercutting certain moments between characters. So I love that reveal, and like I just remember as I was watching this show, most of the time whenever I get frustrated with a show that has mysteries, I'm just sitting there going like, I'm rolling my eyes, I hate this, like what is this, like the Ozymandias stuff. But it's like this show was so methodical and so gripping that I never really questioned it. Like I was like, yeah, we're gonna get there eventually, so it's fine, like just do your weird thing and we'll just see where it goes. But yeah, like when they revealed Dr. Manhattan with the blue glow on Angela after she removes the device that's preventing his memories from permeating his current self, I was just grinning ear to ear, just like, oh my god, here we go. Like
I thought that was when somebody says something about to Angela about Dr. Manhattan's been living here for years or something. She doesn't make a comment, and then that's also addressed to her, saying it's weird you haven't asked who he is. And then she shoots home, and then goes and sees her husband, and suddenly out comes a hammer. Basically, makes a decision to attack him, and then we find out that's all for good reason later on. But there's a lot of good setup in regards to Dr. Manhattan. This is very clever. A lot of how this is written from the moment we start to have that. It's well written throughout, but how they have the scenes of Dr. Manhattan and they flash back, and the cleverness of things that he says to them, things happening later on, even with the egg comment, right? Like, you know, that egg twist. It's frustrating that we'll never know the answer to the cliffhanger ending. I'm going to go down the road that she does get his powers, but so what happens here is there's some very good setup with the first time that we meet Dr. Manhattan with in the show in his blue form with Regina's character, and he does this little magic trick where he opens his hand and an egg's there, and he says, I create life. And then she said, so if you wanted to put all your powers into this egg for someone to eat, because he said he would never give his abilities to somebody without their choice. And she said something like, oh, so if I was to eat this with your powers, I'd get your powers. He's like, yeah, hypothetically. And then later on, as this is like, I think, I can't remember, episode 7 or something. And then later on in the final moments of episode 9, where she's clearing up some eggs that have been on the floor, and slightly earlier on, Dr. Manhattan had said to her, watch the eggs before they fell, or before she threw them on the floor, actually.
Right.
And there's one singular egg left, and the closing moments of the show, she cracks the egg, pours the yolk in, and she sort of sits there for a moment before she goes to put her foot to see if she can stand on the water like Dr. Manhattan could. And it cuts just before the foot lands on the water. I'm all right with this ending, by the way. Like, I'm not going to criticize it. I don't mind, because I felt like everything else was tied up other than this one little bit. But I love how, from the moment we get Dr. Manhattan introduced in the show, meeting Regina's character, to this very moment, it was so well executed and planned out. You've got to shout out Damon Lindelof for this. I mean, look, there's many other writers, don't get me wrong, but I know he's in the mix, and it was just so good, like the little things that were dropped. And that's why I choose to believe that it ends with her getting his powers, because Dr. Manhattan was very good at setup.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's the thing that, like, is so frustrating from the standpoint of me disliking Damon Lindelof, is that this show is kind of a masterclass in, like, setup and payoff, right? Like, you have to be patient, and then you have to kind of choose the right moment to reveal that. Like, and I could see how someone could watch this show and be bored by it, but I mean, if you're pulled into this as much as we were, like, I mean, every time they would go back to show and reveal something, it was always so effective. And I feel like, again, I would love to see the Watchmen graphic novel as a TV series, because, like, granted, you know, we already know a lot of the twists and the ending that happens in these shows. I feel like there's a way to make you kind of feel like that moment where, like, you know, again, when you get that moment where she swallows the last remaining egg, you know, we don't get that satisfaction of the payoff of seeing if she can walk on water. But, like, again, her love story with Dr. Manhattan is so human, like, which you don't get with Silk Spectre in the movie, which makes sense because, you know, Dr. Manhattan's already disconnecting from human society. But, like, in this one, it's just like, oh yeah, like, you hope that she, like, has a part of him still with her, kind of thing, and like having that moment in time that, you know, she's criticizing in her present, you know, become her future, and being like, oh yeah, like, you know, Dr. Manhattan knew what he was talking about.
I thought it was quite funny with Regina, where she's talking to Dr. Manhattan, and we know that he does this whole thing where he goes, I'm here, but I'm also in 1985. Time doesn't work like how it does for normal people. He essentially exists in almost every time. And she's like, oh, well, when you're seeing my grandfather or something, can you ask him how he knows so and so, and you know how they know? Yeah, then, yeah, they know that they're basically like a villain. And the way he's connected, he then asks him. So he asked someone in the past, and that person didn't know. So then she goes, oh, have I just created a paradox?
Right.
She probably has. It's quite strange to me that Dr. Manhattan didn't realize that was what was going to happen. But yeah, I mean, maybe he was a bit foggy because it was just after he'd been brought out of consciousness. But, okay.
I think part of it is also that, like, he's not going to tell her everything, right? Like, there were moments that he was sort of like, I could tell you, but, like, you know, I want you to kind of experience that. And, like, you know, why would he bring that up to her before she even does anything, right? Like, she's going to try to argue, like, oh, I'm never going to do that. And you're like, well, just wait for it.
Okay, so I think we should talk about the Hooded Justice twist, which I thought was very cool, by the way. So the grandfather of Regina's character is in the original Minutemen, which we get to see briefly in the comics and almost very briefly in the show. But one particular person we concentrate on is her father, the Hooded Justice, and his origin story of how he becomes the Hooded Justice because of really off the back of racism. So I get a bunch of white cops decide they're going to hang him up. and then let him down and give him a warning. But then he suddenly embraces the things they gave him, like the rope and the mask, and then that transitions a little bit with him putting sort of white makeup around his eyes so that people can only see the eyes, and it looks like a white man. And he sort of gets by on being a hero because of not just hiding behind a mask, but also hiding behind a race, which is a real social commentary, to be honest, on that time. I think also probably this time as well. But I loved the whole Hooded Justice thing. I thought it was great, especially that episode. That episode 6 is probably one of my favorite episodes, where Regina spends the majority of that episode almost catatonic, reliving her family, her grandfather's memories. So her grandfather, it's this weird thing, isn't it? Some of the weird technology there. They call them nostalgia pills for older people to remind them of things from their past. However, these pills are linked to you as an individual. So if I ate them now in massive gulps, I probably would be reliving the past too. But I thought it was a really cool twist, to be honest. They've sort of seen this grandfather from the very end of the first episode until the last episode, and he comes across a little bit like a thorn in her side initially, but then as we actually get to know him, we get to see his origin story, that actually he was one of the original Minutemen and is a huge superhero. I thought all of that was brilliant. What do you think?
Yeah, I always liked that character in terms of, like, in the movie, right? Like, he's the one that walks in on the comedian trying to rape Sally, like in that flashback. And he doesn't really get very much to do, and you're just kind of like, okay, like, he's an interesting character, but what is this all about? And again, I love this show for fleshing out stuff. Like, I find it interesting that Lindelof says that this is a remix, because in the back of my head, like, I feel like when you go from the comic to this show, I would argue, and again, I haven't read the little bits that are supposed to be the book that the first Night Owl wrote in the comics, but like, you know, I feel like nothing contradicts anything in the comics. So, like, that's the part that I'm absolutely floored by, because it reminds me of the movie Doctor Sleep. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I haven't, no.
But it's Michael Flanagan, who's one of my favorite directors in horror, and he bridges the gap between The Shining, the book, and The Shining, the movie, and finds a way to, like, kind of create this, like, weird sequel to both, which, like, Stephen King has notoriously said that he hated Stanley Kubrick's Shining. So yeah, like, again, I loved how they did that, and it's both kind of cathartic to see, like, that he gets to embrace this you know, alter ego, but at the same time, you know, it is that sad idea, right? Like, he has to put white makeup around his eyes because, like, you know, society would not be okay with a black man wearing a mask saving people, you know, prowling around the city, but, like, has to fit in with everybody else in that Minuteman photo.
I think they also, the police have warned him, if you do anything, you know, we'll come back, or, you know, that's
yeah,
so
but
after the police hung him up, they put him on the ground. They said, I can't remember what they said now. Something along the lines of, "You do something else, we'll be back."
Right. Well, like, yeah. So in that situation, he tried to stop somebody who was, you know, politically influential, without a mask. But then, like, when he's going home, he sees that couple getting mugged, and then he puts the mask on. He still has the noose around his neck, and then just, like, wails on the guys, and then, like, it's his wife who tells him, like, he has to put, you know, makeup around his eyes because, like, a white man in a mask is a hero, and black man in a mask is not. And it's like, oh, that really sucks. And then also finding out that, you know, he's bisexual / gay is probably also, you know, part of that undertone of being like, well, you can't really be who you are in front of people in this time period, and you know, the context of everything going on in the world at that time.
yeah, definitely. So I think you said already you would rewatch this show.
Oh, for sure.
I'd be keen to rewatch it, but not for a while. This is a really deep, heavy show. There's, like, some fun in there too, like, and some interesting creative choices. For instance, Ozymandias living on Titan, trapped in a strange reality which he can't leave. And I'd love to know how these rules kind of got set up that he wasn't allowed to leave, or because Dr. Manhattan made a decision to give up his abilities and kind of been left stuck on the moon.
Right.
Sorry, on Titan. But
Europa.
sorry. Was it? Yeah, Europa. Yeah. What was I thinking of Titan? But anyway, sorry. Yeah, look. Yeah, it's a there's a lot here. It's a rich show. I would happily rewatch it again, but it's got to be further down the road and maybe spaced out for me. I think 1 or 2 episodes a week would be better for me. I think only so then that way you can digest what you've watched, because I think, like I said, I think it was after episode 6 I was like, this is a really heavy show, really heavy, but I haven't got time to take a break. I think after I watched episode 6 I did take a break for like half an hour just to kind of digest what I've watched. But yeah, that's it.
I feel like I could probably jump right back into the show if I wanted to, because like everybody in the show, from like Lady True, Looking Glass, my favorite character is Laurie Blake, played by Jean Smart. I was kind of sitting thinking to myself, like, oh, like, why isn't Regina King like as smart as like Laurie Blake's character, kind of thing, or Jean Smart's character? But it's like I like the balance of like Laurie being the smart kind of hothead FBI agent, and then Regina King's character is kind of more the surrogate for the story, like the audience, the stand-in for the audience to be like experiencing this world, but also like the idea that she doesn't know as much as Laurie does, but like it creates that awesome dynamic between her and Dr. Manhattan when they finally meet each other, right? Like, essentially a regular person is talking to God, and like, godlike being that, her, just kind of sassiness comes up against his intelligence, and him kind of explaining how he perceives time and how their relationship will work out. And she's kind of like, I'm pretty sure I know that. I'm not having dinner with you tomorrow. And then like by the end of all of it, it's like, okay, well, like he knew it was going to happen, and she was too proud to admit it. But then by the end of it, right, like the thing I love about it is that this story gives Dr. Manhattan his humanity back. I wish that like they kept the eyes, really like, white and missing the pupils. But like, I know that they were doing that to try to give Dr. Manhattan a little bit of humanity in it, because like, that final moment where he's like, I don't want to die alone, right? Like in my head, I was like, can he stop his own death because he knows it, or is this set in stone that he's like, okay, I'm gonna die, so like there's no point in trying to fight this because like it always ends in this point? But the show is so good emotionally, and like, I mean, just for the drama and like the sadness of it all, but also like the comedy in the show was fantastic. Like Wade as Looking Glass, and Laurie constantly calling him, Mirror Man or something like that. Constantly slapping him down. He's like, I'm pretty sure it's Looking Glass. But again, Adrian Veidt is one of my favorite characters in Watchmen, and he still continues to be so with Jeremy Irons playing him. The only question at this point I'm wondering is if Ozymandias is as strong as the movie suggests he is, because he's kind of like a Superman in the movie, and then here like gets kind of conked on the head with a wrench and is out.
He's much more toned down in this, so
yeah.
Okay, look, so I think so hypothetically, if you're going to are you going to rewatch this?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Like, would you just put it on today, or like would you?
Yeah, I totally could. Like, I mean, like it's heavy, but I think that the 1 hour blocks, like I didn't binge it, so like it was like one episode a night. Like I was able to just kind of sit there with my thoughts and just let the show ruminate over me. And now that I've seen it all, right, like I'm looking forward to seeing what they might have set up from episode 1 that would be like, oh, I totally missed that, because you don't know that that's coming.
Yeah, I could rewatch this, but not right now. They're big episodes.
I get it, and I mean, like I think politics definitely weigh more on some people than others, and I'm definitely one who's kind of like, it is what it is. Like, I'm a little Rorschach-ish in my jadedness, but
I think. By the way, I think with this TV series, they do a really good job of almost finishing the book because they create a lot of leftover stuff from the graphic novel,
Mhm.
and they kind of then tie it up and finish it off for the most part, except for Regina. I don't think she's. I don't know. I think she has got his powers. I think that's probably where I'm going with it. But
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I think that, like, again, her story is already told, right? Like, once she has his powers, what is she going to do with it? Because, like, her grandfather, like, says to him, like, or says to her, like, he had all those powers and he could have done so much more with them, and then, like, he chose to just kind of do what he did, and then so you would hope that Regina, with his powers, will make the world a better place.
yeah, hopefully. Right, okay. Look, I'm gonna sort of draw this line here, and we'll rate it and move on. But
Cool.
by the way, next week we're going to review the animated Watchmen films.
Yeah.
And you said a minute ago when we watched the live action Watchmen movie, you felt like it was really rushed through. The animated movies are actually 2 movies. So I haven't watched them yet. I'm going to start to watch them in readiness for next week's episode. I'll watch them probably Monday or something. I feel like if they put that story across 2 animated movies, I'm hoping that they become really rich in detail and get to spend some time with these characters. And that's what my hope is anyway, that we get to more enjoy it rather than, like you just said, watch from the ultimate cut or the director's cut. Even the normal cut, they kind of rush through it a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's kind of like, the cliff notes of Watchmen via the movie, right? Where they just kind of paint the bigger moments, minus the squid, which feels like a pretty big moment not to incorporate. But again, I understand why they did what they did. But yeah, hopefully those animated movies will do that. And yeah, my plan right now is to get through those movies, read the back of the issues to finish the book that Night Owl wrote, and watch the ultimate cut. So we'll talk everything next week as far as finishing up all the other Watchmen stuff.
yeah, and I'm interested seeing how they maybe tell the story over 2 films. But right, okay, so come back to this TV show, 9 episodes. We've read the cast out, the producers, directors. It's rated out 5. What would you give it, Lawrence?
This one I would give a 5. I mean, that, like, it is a masterpiece. Like, I can't believe that Damon Lindelof is a part of this. It pains me to say it, but at the same time, damn, that was so good.
Well, at least he wasn't allowed to drag it on. But yeah, I would also give this 5. I think it's a really, really well done TV show. I think it's incredibly well done. It's so rich in character development and the direction, just the cast, everything is just a perfect show. I love the fact that we jump back and forth. And by the way, something I wanted to mention. I really love the transitions between scenes. And it doesn't happen in every scene, but you know how in the comic book, Derek said a couple weeks ago how if you turn the page, so the last panel will be linked to almost the first panel on the next page. And I noticed this when they did a lot of cuts. They did exactly the same thing with this show. I thought that was quite admirable, to be honest. So, right, okay. I give it 5 out of 5. I'm looking forward to next week's episode where we review the 2 animated movies. Look, you can follow us on all the social medias. Check out Lawrence's written review of Acne vs. Coyote very shortly. However, you can listen to this show if you're interested in listening to this podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Please remember to give it a 5-star review, etc. Is there anything you want to add, Lawrence? Or
yeah, the only thing I was going to say was that the one thing I think is absolutely crazy about this show was that apparently HBO wanted a second season from this, and Damon Lindelof wasn't interested in doing it. He told the story he wanted to tell.
Yeah, I read that.
Walked away, and then apparently HBO, just because they were like, well, we wanted Lindelof to be the creative head of season 2, just opted to say, yeah, we're not going to do it. And like, I'm sure that's frustrating from a corporate standpoint, but I kind of respect that, he would be like, I told the story I want to tell. We're not going to do this. And then HBO just kind of backs down and says, okay, like the showrunner said he's done with the story that he was going to tell. let's just leave it alone. Versus, like I'm sure today HBO would have been like, so season 2, we'll just get a new showrunner, and you're like, this isn't as good. Like, what is
I feel
this?
like they would do that now.
Yeah, right.
But maybe they decided to go down that route. But yeah, look, okay, so yeah, feel free to come back next week. We will be reviewing the animated movies, and I'm looking forward to watching them. Hopefully, it's a little bit more rich in detail than the live action movie, but we'll see. Right, okay, Lawrence, thanks for joining, and thanks to those who watched and chipped in at the beginning. But look, have a good week, everyone.
Bye.